Why don't we move on to another HBO movie this time? Unpregnant,
Oh yeah.
from Rachel Lee Goldenberg, starring Barbie Ferrara from uh, Euphoria,
Hmm.
Haley Lou Richardson. Um, I guess those are like the main two, right? And then
Yeah.
you have Giancarlo Esposito jumping in a couple of times, Brecken Meyer out of the clouds. So definitely some interesting pieces going on here. I mean, the obvious, I think, comparison for movies we talked about this year is this is the lighter version of Never, Maybe, Sometimes, Always.
Never, rarely.
Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always.
Hmm.
The movie about a young girl who seeks an abortion in New York City from, I believe it was Ohio, underage. So she wanted to go
Yeah.
somewhere where she didn't need her parents' approval. Same, pretty much the same exact plot here, where the main character needs to go get an abortion, brings a friend along. But this time, there's some zany adventures that kind of
Right.
lead them back together as friends. So it's a lot more lighthearted than Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. I'm wondering, because we liked Never, Really, Sometimes, Always. Did you
Yeah.
like Unpregnant as much as that?
Not as much. I like both. I think never, rarely, sometimes, always. Just kind of, a lie from Eliza Hittman. Just really excellently well done. It's a difficult subject and it's handled with a lot of grace. And
Mhm.
that lead performance is really strong and carries the film. And Unpregnant does not have those same goals. Like you said,
Yeah.
crossing state lines to get an abortion because the powers that be require you to do that is basically the same. But this is, a buddy comedy as a result. And there are some heavier moments regarding the abortion of it all, but it's not nearly as a driving force in this movie, the way it is in Never Is Sometimes Always. So Unpregnant, though, did feel kind of like a perfect movie at home and streaming. Like it's a really well done streaming film. This was made by that Warner Max film label specifically for HBO Max, and this felt like a good home. And I think it's really pleasantly enjoyable movie. You have two good leads, two actors people like, and it doesn't kind of like go off the rails. It doesn't get super preachy about anything at the end, right? It doesn't go in any one direction. It felt consistent to me. I'm pregnant, so I still like it in that regard. But I think Never, Sometimes, Always sets a higher bar for itself and achieves that. So it depends what you're looking for.
Totally agree. Um, I think this is still an enjoyable movie. I don't know if it's one that I would find myself going back to, but I do think there's some fun moments within this, and I think also some moments where you end up like cheering them on and really rooting for this friendship to come about.
Right.
Like I think to the scene where um, Barbie Ferrara's character uh, goes visit her dad, right, and
Yeah.
um, Veronica shows up and confronts the dad and kind of tells him off, and it's kind of like this coming around moment where their friendship is kind of solidified again as Veronica sticks up for Bailey. I just felt like um, those moments and the funny moments were uh, maybe a little too sparse. Like I think there was a lot of like moments that I didn't really connect with as well, or didn't find super interesting. But for a HBO film that I got to watch from my home, I think that this is a solid film. Like this is better than most of the Netflix movies we review, in my opinion.
Yes.
Any moments, any like anything from the movie that really stood out to you?
Um.
Any performances, maybe?
Yeah. I got some notes, but Haley Richardson, I think, is an actor that everyone really likes. Columbus back in 2016, so long ago at this point, but that was a big breakout for her. She'll be reuniting with the director Kogata later in the year with After Yang, which is an A24 film that's waiting for release at this point. Um, and I also really liked her in Support the Girls in 2018. And this
Mm-hmm.
movie, I think it just kind of played her strength. She's just a really charismatic screen presence, kind of
Mm-hmm.
always, right? And also seemed astutely cast as this kind of like, you know, what good girl, smart girl, going to Brown in the fall. high school senior, right? Like it made sense as a piece
Mhm.
of casting. But I've always just really liked her, and I've been looking forward to more and more roles from her. I think her biggest hit to date would be 5 Feet Apart, that movie she has with Cole Sprouse, where they both have like I believe it's cystic fibrosis in the
Mm.
hospital. It's like one of those like romantic drama movies. That's her biggest hit. Not exactly what I'm looking for though, so I'm really hoping After Yang uh, scratches that itch in terms of just
Yeah.
top level movies. But I think she's really good. And Barbie Ferreira, I think this is her first film role
Mhm.
because she's a new actor, right? She was modeling before she came to Euphoria. But I thought they were both really good, and the chemistry, that buddy chemistry, they're gonna rekindle their friendship throughout the movie. There's no real surprises with this narrative. You can kind of pick out the beats, but I think the movie still works because they give two good performances and play off each other well.
Yeah, I agree. I think their chemistry is really good. And I also felt like the reason that they kind of grew apart makes a lot of sense for the characters, which is something that I think in these
Mm,
movies sometimes I don't totally connect with.
yeah,
It's like
can be
one
contrived.
yeah, one person became alternative and the other one was good at school, so they just couldn't, be in the same friend group anymore. But the fact that Haley Lou Richardson, as you can see when she kind of finds out that Bailey's family is falling apart with her dad wanting to leave her mom, not only I think felt like she couldn't be there for Bailey as she kind of went through all that, but it's such a normal like teenager slash middle school kid thing to say, to be like, you just got really weird and like I didn't want to like be there for you. I was like, okay, you know what, that makes sense, and like I buy that because I think that's a little bit more, makes more sense for that age than like when they give it a really really deep like
Yeah.
meaning behind it. So I felt like that fit for the movie and the tone. Um, there were a couple, like I mentioned, Breckenmeyer, Giancarlo Esposito, a couple of big name cameos. Any of that you really liked?
Uh, Esposito definitely came out of left field for me. Didn't
Yeah.
expect him to be in this movie in kind of a bit role, but I did like the one use of him where you have this Kelly Clarkson drop earlier in the
Mm-hmm.
movie. There's a callback to that, and then later on, after the callback, you see that brief moment of Esposito's character Bob like humming the tune once
Mm-hmm.
again. Like, I thought that was really funny.
And I thought it was nice that he got to be someone other than Gus Fring. Like, you know, um, even in The Boys, I feel like his character a lot of times is just like the government Gus Fring in a way. And to see him just kind of be this like goofy, like
Yeah,
nut basically
Doomsday
was just
Prepper or
really
something.
nice. Exactly. I thought that was really nice. And Breckin Meyer, I mean, like I said, that guy, I don't know what he's been up to. Maybe he's been in like TV shows that I'm not watching on like TNT or something. But to see him like pop up as this pro-life religious nut and who's kind of gives this like creepy vibe, I thought that was actually interesting turn for him, and I thought that was kind of a fun cameo as well.
Yeah, for sure. I also two things that stood out to me when uh, Bailey is in the funhouse, when she's
Mm,
with the race car driver, you have this really obvious use of the quote bisexual lighting, the blues and the pinks. It's like, well, we already know she's gay or bi because
mm-hmm.
she talked about that, right? So it's like just kind of funny to me. Usually that kind of lighting is used like in a more subtle way, like you think of something like a moonlight. So it's kind of funny to me to see it there. Also, at no point in that funhouse scene does anyone come up behind them in the
I know,
funhouse, which is totally unrealistic that no one
totally
else is in the
unrealistic.
funhouse. That was what
Also,
I
how
was there.
old is that race car driver? She looked like she was like in her 30s. No offense to her. She might be younger,
Yes.
but she looked so much older than Bailey, I think was is my point
Yep.
really. That
It's a
it
good
just was
point.
a little bit like
I'll
off-putting.
also say that Haley Lou's hair stayed like ridiculously unnaturally curly for like the first half of the movie. That's a thing in TV and movies right now where the lead female protagonist always has curly hair. It's never straight. And I just thought it was funny because I was like, wow, they redid that hair for this scene. She literally woke up the next day and the hair is still perfectly curled. It's just a funny touch.
Dave, bringing the hair takes to nostalgia this week. Any last thoughts?
I saw some comps to Superbad and Booksmart and stuff, and I think the chemistry between the two
Sure.
leads, you can see the comparisons, but I think both those movies, the antics, the jokes are just at a different level than this movie.